Chào my man. So for this video, I'm gonna be talking to you. Ooh, look at those bug bites. Ugh. But I'm gonna be talking to you about the 10 differences of living abroad versus living at home. And I actually saw a video that My Curious Georgia did on it, so I was like, yeah, let's keep this tag going. So here are my 10 things. Number 1, no closets. In the States, we have like the regular closets that like open and close that are built into the house. Here in Vietnam, everybody seems to have these type of closets that they're like actual closets, like the ones in all the scary movies where when you're going to sleep and it's like super late at night, it opens up by itself and something comes out. Yeah, that's the standard here. Number 2, a wet bathroom. Yeah, so there's no like separation. Well, as far as like the traditional houses go, which is like most places, unless you're getting like a place that's made for foreigners, most bathrooms are gonna be no separation. There's like the toilet and the shower or whatever. So while you're showering, if the bathroom isn't big enough, you're gonna be hitting into the toilet, which is really weird. But technically, I guess it's cleaner in a sense because the toilet is constantly getting wet, so it's not like as dirty as the US ones or whatever, in theory. But yeah, that's definitely one of them. Number 3, here in Vietnam, you don't really have any space as far as personal space goes, and that's totally a cultural thing. I didn't even notice that that's something that us Americans have, is like plenty of space. If you're like in America and even just being in line, if somebody is way too close to you, that's like annoying. Okay, so you have to throw that out the window being here in Vietnam because everybody's gonna be going on top of you. It's not even like next to you, it's like over your shoulder, just like even like looking at the front of the line or whatever. So there's no such thing as personal space here, which is a real weird one that I never even like thought of. But yeah, no space, definitely one of those. For the Wi-Fi, literally anywhere and everywhere you go here in Vietnam, well, that's just the countryside, you can get Wi-Fi. So that pretty much means in reality, you can go without a cell phone service for a while here in Vietnam. You could just use Wi-Fi everywhere and you're pretty good to go. It was literally a month before I actually got cell phone service for myself too, so I know firsthand. Now in America, good luck with trying to go anywhere without a phone service. Like there is nowhere that gives you such awesome internet that you can go without phone service. Well, I guess it's like not a lot of places even like give you Wi-Fi, but if they do give you Wi-Fi, it's pretty damn laggy. So there's just no way you'd be able to go without a cell phone provider when you're in the States. The 5th one is the people here are so friendly. Of course, you're gonna get like those people here and there that just like don't want anything to do with you or whatever, and that's just life. But compared to the United States, like most people in the US, unless you're from like the southern part of the US, aren't very friendly. You can like have a broken down car and be out like in the middle of the road as a woman, and you're not gonna have people that are willing to stop and help you to see if you're okay. Which like for one point it's kind of understandable because you hear so many like horror stories with stuff like that, like shootings and like, I don't know, like crazy stuff. But at the same time, the sense of community over here is just so nice. Like it just makes you feel like so good to be part of a community like that. For example, there was one time, I think I mentioned this in a mukbang, but it's the first one that always comes to mind, is like me and this guy were like doing this thing where like you know, like sorry like you're still like in each other's way, and like an old man stopped and he didn't even know English, and he looked at me and he's like he said "Gai gong," and I know that that's like, oh, what kid or something, like, or like, yeah, it means like, oh, what kid, and I'm taking it as like, oh, what happened, like, is everything okay, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, okay, good, like that, because I don't know how to like say that in Vietnamese, like, I'm okay. But it was just like, just a sense, just the fact that like an old man stopped for a person who doesn't even like speak the same language to make sure that they're okay. It's like, it's so like nice. It's nice, and I love that sense of community that Vietnamese people have. I think that's definitely like a really nice thing. I think that it's very I don't know, like something to look up to, you know, like their sense of community. And I've noticed that they have like a sense of community with each other everywhere they go, because I know like they have communities within the states where it's like Vietnam Town or whatever. And I think that's something that is really important to have as just people in general. And I like that they do that, you know, and they don't exclude anybody. So definitely the friendliness and the niceness and the sense of community that Vietnamese people have. A+. Okay, I totally went on a rant there, so my bad. The sixth one is milk tea. Now this is everywhere in Vietnam. Like, you can't walk a block without seeing at least 3 milk tea places around. It's blown up here. It's like a thing or whatever. And at first I was like, milk tea, like what the heck? But after I had it, it's like, okay, well, I understand. And I've fallen victim to the whole tea craze. I always get it from the same place because they make it so good. And this is literally green tea with peach inside, and they put some of that like lemon, that's not really a lemon, there's another word for it, in there, and they put lemongrass in it. So it has this like citrusy flavor, but it's mainly like a peach flavor and tea flavor. So they know how to do their food right. Okay, let's just say that. They know how to do their food right. You give them any food and they will not only make it, they'll improve on it. Tea craze, you have to get into it. And I know that in the US, our teas and drinks and stuff consist of like a lot of syrup or like really generic taste that like it either tastes generic or it's not natural. Like a lot of the Starbucks stuff, or I mean really it's like Starbucks, coffee places, we don't really have like milk tea like they do. I know that like a couple of Asian places have like boba drinks and stuff like that, but it's still nowhere comparable to what they have currently here in Vietnam. Like the selection of fruit flavors and just tea flavors and whatever is not, I guess just not on par with what they have here in Vietnam. It's kind of weird. Number 7, tall buildings. So here in Vietnam, a lot of the land is smaller than it is in America. And from my understanding, most places are a lot smaller than the plots of land in America. So all of their buildings are narrow and skinny and tall. Well, narrow and skinny is kind of the same thing, right? But they're tall. And it's also not uncommon to see houses that are like 3 or 4 stories tall, which is very different. It's really different because in America, like max 2. And if you do come by a house that's like 3 stories tall, most of the time they're really loaded. It's really like very, very uncommon. Tea break. Number 8 are the chairs. So if you're not familiar with their chairs, typically they're not like these regular chairs that I'm sitting on, that it's like taller or whatever. when you go out, if you haven't seen like vlogs of Vietnam, they have these little stools everywhere. You go out to eat at a restaurant, or you go out to eat at the little local vendors where they have like the street food or whatever, and they all have stools for chairs. So it can be something that you have to get used to as a foreigner, at least coming from the US, because everywhere in the US has like the chairs that are off the ground and like taller, I guess is how I would explain it, as opposed to here where everybody pretty much sits on stools. Unless you go to like the more like nicer restaurants, then they'll have either regular, I don't want to say regular chairs, but just higher chairs, and then they also have like higher off the ground stools. But definitely the chairs. Number 9, Facebook shops. Here, like, I mean, obviously you can go out and go to the districts where they have like all the cell phone stuff or all the motorbike stuff or all the clothes stuff or whatever, or electronics, whatever. Like, you'll be able to find the stores like that. But there's a lot of stores that have like online shops only. And I should say stores, like, I use it loosely because they're not actually stores. It's like a startup. So it's like people selling out of their houses sometimes, to where they buy like a bunch of products and sell it on Facebook, and then sometimes they make enough to open a storefront. But yeah, definitely stores on Facebook is a thing here. In America, it's totally not like that. Like, you have Etsy and stuff like that for people to sell out of their houses, or I guess like eBay and stuff like that, maybe Amazon, but it's not like a Facebook thing. And if there are people, it's not like a thing there in America pretty much. So it was kind of a weird concept, and it kind of still is. Number 10, like, it's not uncommon to find buildings that are like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories tall here. A lot of the houses here I've found are like 3 stories tall. So that's really different. It's something I'm totally not used to. And what sucks about that is that you, for the most part, have to walk flights of stairs all the way up if you need to go up. So overall, those are 10 differences between Vietnam and the States that I've found so far. There's a ton of other stuff, but then that would probably require, I can't talk. Then that would probably require a much longer video. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. If you can think of anything different or anything to add on to this list, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to see what you can come up with. There's just so many different things. It's like hard to pick just 10, right? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit that little bell to get notified of whenever I put out a video. And until then, I will see you here in my next video. Toodles.